I can't learn to do anything.
I'm disabled.
If you got a brain in your head, you'd be dangerous.
I'm not good enough. I'm retarded.
No boundaries.
And now, your hosts, Nate and Micah.
Hey everybody, welcome to No Boundaries. This is your friend Nate the Great, and as always, my buddy Micah.
Micah Edward Moore.
Don't let me.
Actually, King. Yeah.
Anyway, doing that for lady purposes. Anyway, about the show.
Always.
The show's basically about helping people with disabilities be more confident. Do the great things. And even though I sound a little jacked up here, just knowing that you're gonna be out of your comfort zone, out of the norm, the whole sadness thing or whatever and whatnot. That's why it's called No Boundaries. Break the wall. We're gonna break that wall, and that's what our show is basically about. So, the person that we're gonna interview today,
Yes.
this
Is
woman.
the lovely Virginia Perks. How you doing?
Hi. Good.
And what are we gonna be talking about today, Nate?
We are going to talk about her son that has a disability, which I forget his name. Forgive me. What is-
Harry.
Harry. There you go. So, what does your son have? What disability does he have?
Well, he was diagnosed with autism,
Okay.
a spectrum. They didn't know for sure. They had ideas that could be, and in the 80s when he was born, they didn't have a lot of doctors who understood a lot about autism at the time. So I was fighting to get some type of idea of what's going on with him.
Oh, okay. And was it difficult for you when you found out that he had autism? Was that really difficult to
Yeah.
handle with?
Yeah, it was something that, as a mother, you never wish to find out that your son or daughter has a disability. And I think one of the things that I know when I was trying to deal with it is having to redream what he was going to be when he grows up, because you dream about what he's like, what he's going to be like, a little boy, throwing a baseball. And I mean, he does all that, but I think in my mind I was like, oh no, he's going to be, all these problems. And so I think you have to redream what he's going to do. So it was really difficult. I was in a depression, but then I got up and started doing advocacy for him and fighting for his services. So.
Well, that's good to know.
So when he was diagnosed, were you worried about what other people would think? Were you afraid to share the diagnosis with your family or what?
I didn't know what autism was. I really didn't. So the first thing I did with my friend who had taken some childhood education classes in college, I sat with her and we talked. And she gave me some information, and that's when I first started learning about it. The internet wasn't accessible for me in a small town where I lived. So I looked it up, I went to the library, I called people, and I started getting involved. So I started learning about what autism was before I was comfortable telling my parents or, my family what kind of disability he had. Mm-hmm. So that was the first step.
Mm. So when they found out what it was, when you found out what it was and you told them, were they acceptive of it?
They were confused, I think, because they didn't understand. They just thought, because he looked, with autism, you don't look like you have a disability. You look, like you're just going to go on and play ball and say hi and have conversations. But I think one of the things that he had a hard time doing with my parents was interacting with them. So, that was hard for them because he said, well, he looks normal. He looks, what's normal? He started dealing with doing the stacking things, and the way that he learns was different. So they had to adjust their thoughts on how to do that.
So was he a fast learner or a slow learner?
He was pretty fast. I mean, he would be repetition. He would have to have, the way he learned was if you repeated and repeated and repeated, after so many times, he would know it back to front.
Oh, so repetition was easy for him.
Repetition was, I mean, he would sit, and I had Texas Instruments when he was first born, working with him with his, some of his skills that he needed work on. And he would sound like the voice of this instrument, which was the first types of computer types of voices, and it was very rigid. So he did learn.
Repetition, huh? So when he went to school, did you have to tell his teachers that he had to learn repetition in order for him to learn, or what?
I tried to work with the teachers, and teachers have a lot of different types of disability and people in their classroom. He would come home with different types of things that he wouldn't leave, the home with. He'd come back. I mean, all kids will. They'll come back with different types of behaviors and little nuances that he did, which, was very difficult to understand, but they would work with me, and it was very, very good because they knew how to teach. So, but I learned from them, and they, knew I needed to give them information on what he's doing during the day. Excuse me.
Well, that was some good information to learn about. I think we should do like a part 2 to this because there's more to this story. And to all our viewers out there, I hope you enjoyed what we're doing for you. And we'll see you guys soon. So This is No Boundaries. Big Nate.
With Nate the Great, Micah Edward, King Moore,
And Miss Virginia.
the lovely Virginia Perks.
All right. See you guys later.